Hey guys, today I'm going to touch on three things briefly. Three things that need to be applied when you're training for development and greater hypertrophy. Um, Three things I'm going to talk about: isolation for the targeted muscle, continuous tension, and the anatomical leverage of the individual. All right, so isolation or target training, is a must for any physique athlete. You need to learn to train only the target muscle in a set of exercises for that session. You keep in mind that your body will always try to recruit other muscles in most exercises, unless it's something like a leg extension or a preacher curl. So you must always focus on only making the desired muscle do the work. If you fail to do this, other muscles or groups of muscles will inevitably assist in the lift. And this is not what you want when trying to induce an adaptive response in the targeted muscle. But as most of you know, it is technically impossible to truly isolate one muscle. Nevertheless, your goal is to make the targeted muscle the weakest in a group of acting muscles in order for it to achieve maximum overload. This requires knowing the planes and ranges of motions in which a muscle functions in order to effectively overload that muscle. Always ensure that you train the muscle through its full range of motion, because research has consistently shown that a muscle stretched with resistance, during the eccentric loading will receive the most overload. By doing this, the intensity of the contraction will be much greater. You will start tapping into those high threshold motor units, which are essential for growth. And in a hypertrophy-based program, you want to do exercises that obtain a peak contraction or fully shorten the muscles, and the ones that get a maximal stretch or fully lengthen the muscles to get the most development out of them. All right, so the next topic I'm going to touch on is continuous tension. All right, if you seek to exert maximum effort and produce development in the gym, you need to avoid the habit of pausing on exercises. I see this all the time. For example, people will take a slight pause at the top of, every rep of a leg press, squat, bench press, whatever it may be. Why? Because it makes the lift easier. The pause allows the nervous system to rest, and then thereby you're limiting the maximum benefit achieved from that workload. Instead you need to focus on mentally focus on the stretch and the contract of the repetition, and try to keep tension on the targeted muscle on every single inch of every rep of every single set. Remember, you're trying to fatigue that targeted muscle and place as much stress on it as possible. Yes, there are certain techniques like extended sets, strip sets, that will appropriately incorporate pauses, but in general, in the bigger picture, focus on continuously pumping out those reps under control and keep tension on the muscle. Time under tension is a big factor when it comes to development. All right, last thing I'm going to touch on real quick is anatomical leverages of an individual. When it comes to physique development, the same thing is heard over and over. You must squat to get big legs, you must do pull-ups to develop your back, and so on. A lot of people swear by these statements, and don't get me wrong, that they do work for a lot of individuals. However, this does not mean it will work for you. Your body's own leverages, the length of your arms, legs, torso will play a huge role in which exercises will be more suited for you in order to fully develop your muscle. For example, if you have long legs, doing back squats may produce a lot more lower lumbar stress and decrease your range of motion, thereby preventing your legs from receiving most of the overload. If you have long arms, pull-ups are probably not going to be very effective in developing a full back, because it's extremely difficult for those individuals, because there's basically a larger distance to move from point A to point B to get maximal contractions to complete the rep. And then this will obviously reduce overall time under tension and take away from development. There are countless other exercises that are good and or bad depending on your own leverage system. And so be smart, choose exercises that enable you to fully stimulate that targeted muscle. Don't get caught up on this hype that if you can't perform a certain lift that you're not going to grow. I've proven this wrong numerous times with multiple clients over the years. Understanding the range and the plane of motion in which a muscle works is critical to achieving maximum overload in an exercise. So what does this mean? It means technique is more important than just how much weight you use. So fully stimulating that muscle is one of the most important things. Your body does not know how much weight is on the bar. It just knows how much tension and stress the muscle is under. All right. So remember this. Leave your ego in your gym bag and go develop your great body.